Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cranberry County City Skylines series from Design Candy. Yours truly. Welcome all the newcomers. Welcome all the binge watchers. Make sure if you like what you see to subscribe to the channel so we can build the biggest, best, awesome City Skylines YouTube community together. Episode number 40. Today we are continuing in the military base. Now, one big lesson that I learned when doing my research for the military base, I actually did some Google Maps flying around searching, and I utilized a few different Air Force bases, and I think that's one of the things we're going to land on just because I want a lot of planes. We're going to land on this being like an Army/Air Force base. But when I was looking, one of the biggest things that I saw, and again, I didn't look like crazy everywhere. There was a couple of suggestions in the comment section. Actually, let me see if I can find it. You guys had a lot of great suggestions and comments. Make sure you guys put that in down below for the next episode. Man, okay. I think that someone had like a really good comment that works at an Air Force base. Okay, let me try to find it. But while I find it, one of the big things that I learned was Air Force base or military bases have hospitals, fire stations, stores, and one of the big things that they have are residential suburban areas, suburbs, right? Housing. And like normal houses and apartments. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like an airport, right? Where you would go, if you're on duty, you would probably stay in some sort of old school like area. But I didn't know there was like legit communities, like houses. And then I did a lot more research and I found that even across seas, like there's like McDonald's and different stores and whole communities, American communities, even in the Air Force and the Army and military bases in different countries. I thought that was just crazy. So that was the motivation for this part of the military base. As you can see on the screen right now, we're doing suburban districts, right? Suburbs for days. What I do best, if you could say that like, hey, Design Candy, what do you do the best? I love building suburbs. I actually, all my biggest episodes are airports and suburbs. They're like in downtowns, right? But suburbs are always included in some of the most popular episodes and specifically on this series. So you guys love seeing suburbs. So I might do like a tutorial video as well on how I put suburbs down and how I utilize different things. A couple of things about my game right now, if you care. If not, you can probably skip ahead. But I have reached the node segment limit. And I talked about this a little bit on my live stream 2 weeks ago. Go check that out. We built a hospital right adjacent to the Overland Valley Ranch District. Really fun. Go check that out. But so one of the big like innovations in this game, it happened probably two years or so ago, was it was utilizing props as networks. And that was big because the prop limit was just insane. So you have city builders like me that go for just the vastness of a city, right? I want to build the biggest city possible, right? 50 episode cities, right? We're already in episode 40. But these big cities with multiple districts and multiple residential neighborhoods and stores and raceways and airports and all that fun stuff. So for guys like me, having a prop limit was just so limiting, right? It was such a big limitation because I couldn't get as detailed as I wanted and I couldn't scale as big as I wanted as well. So one of the really cool things that happened, again, as of a few years ago, is there's a lot of creators that came out with assets that were networks with props. For instance, like right now on the screen, you would see I would split that area with like a fence, right? Every neighborhood has fences behind, so it's dividing the houses and then dividing the property from your neighbors on the left and right side. So you have a junction point of like 4 for every single fence. and it was revolutionary. Like, we were able to detail this whole thing with just a bunch of fences, and yeah, it turned out awesome. Now, here's another thing I didn't know. That caused me to do most things with props just to save my prop count. It caused me to do everything with networks, put network fences down. I didn't know that you had a limit on how networks can join. It's crazy. The limitations on this game are just insane. And again, back in the day, I could see why. Taxing to a system like the engine that this game uses is like, you can't do that, right? And that's why a lot of creators build smaller cities. But yeah, it was weird. It was definitely weird. So I ran into that limit. I got a little CL mod that shows all the limits, and I'm like hitting that limit like crazy. So it's kind of interesting. So one of the glaring things that you're not going to see in this build today is the detailing of the suburb district. And I still got to figure out how. I think I'll go back to props. I have a mod called Prop and Limiter that I've been using. I hit the prop limit back in like episode 20. You guys know me. I put props everywhere. So I'm utilizing that mod, and yeah, it's a challenge now because like I'm straight up not connecting things, right? Any road that can get like right there, you see I just joined that together, not on the street, but just those two junctions together, boom, and then right there, right? So when you join those, that counts. So yeah, it's interesting. One of the big limitations, but we're getting by. We're getting past it. So right now I'm just filling in the area with some trees using my tree brush. I saw a cool mod that everybody else is using that I'm gonna go ahead and download. It's called like a forest tree brush. That looked really cool. But yeah, we're just dividing the houses with trees instead of with fences at the moment. So, but yeah, so this military base, I mean, it's a pretty big one. I'm struggling. I'm actually starting to record the next episode, and I just put down the runway for all the planes and for the air, all the hangars where all the F-150 fighter jets go, and the C-100s and all those big planes, all those military planes that we'll put down. And I just realized how big this is. And even this section right here, like, it's huge. It's huge, huge, huge. I think my next series is actually already going. It's Hawthorne Springs. We're going to start building back in Hawthorne Springs. But I think for Hawthorne Springs, I'm going to be very conscious of scale, right? And that's one of the big regrets that I have with Cranberry County, because scale was just out the window. Everything that I build could be 2x smaller, and it probably would be better for frame rate. It probably would be better for the look of the city, and etc. So that's the plan for the next one. Right now we are putting down a data center, and this data center would be some sort of like an office data complex for the military. Maybe this is where you have communications to other bases and troops in the field and all that fun stuff. You guys have already seen in the cinematics, and also last week's opening cinematic, you would have saw the towers. You can see them a little bit off to the screen to the left if you want to roll back and pause it. But we have those like satellite dishes, those big round things. So maybe that this is like a data center and a maintenance center that connects to, that over there. And I saw a lot of different like piping work and just industrial pipes and like power and all that stuff in this Google Earth overview. And I don't know what that's for. If you know what that's for inside of a military base, why a military base would have just like this industrial power. I mean, I guess that it provides its own power. That would be kind of cool. I'm so ignorant when it comes to military bases, so please enlighten me down below in the comment section. But yeah, so we're gonna put down some pipes. Again, I'm just trying to kind of emulate what I saw in those overhead screenshots in Google Earth here. And so I needed like an end cap for that pipe, so that worked out pretty well, placing that down. And yeah, trying to add some details. So we're gonna add some overgrown foliage here, some overgrown grass, just to make it look a little bit overran, like it's been here for a while. It needs to be maintained just a little bit, but it's contained inside of the gate. You're never going to see like perfectly pretty landscaping in these type of builds. You kind of want it grungy and dirty and, some grass and weeds overflowing. So that's what we're going to put down right there. And then I move on to the awesome part. So this episode, like the focus is twofold, because this right here, what we're going to start building. I don't even know what to call this specifically. It's like, I guess it's the old school community that used to be in the military base here, and they have these awesome military buildings that I just fell in love with, and I overuse them. Of course, it's design candy, y'all. The scale is just insane, and so I put these down, put these in place, and just significantly overuse them. But they just look like an old school barracks. I remember when I was a kid, I had an uncle that lived on the base, and they lived in these like older barracks, like apartment housing, and it was awesome. It was really cool. And we went and visited a few times that I can remember, trying to draw back in my memory. But I remember them looking similar to this. These look more like an administration building, like there's a lot of business going on here, but yeah, I remember it looking kind of similar to this, and yeah, I was dialing it in, putting some parking lots next to that. And I try to make like the story would be with this specific area, that maybe there's some construction happening and we're tearing down the rest of these, right? And so we're going to probably build like more housing over here, or another office building, or something in the military base. So I wanted to create some sort of construction scene, dirt in this area. It's funny because there's piles of dirt. You'll see it in a second here. I, for the life of me, could not get brown piles of dirt, like dark brown. I could only do like these like light brown piles of dirt. So it works. It looks realistic when you see the screenshots and screenshots on social, and when you see the time lapse, the cinematic shots at the end. But I thought it was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. I cut out legitimately 15 to 20 minutes of me trying to dial in piles of dirt. It was hilarious. I spared you guys, but it was hilarious. But yeah, so just detailing this area, adding some dirt piles, some overturned grass. We're going to add the parking lots here in a few seconds. So I want to answer some questions really quick as we head towards the end of this episode. Shout out to the all usual. Hey, you guys are like loyal, man. The people that are watching my videos at this moment in the weird state of my channel, you guys are super loyal. So I really appreciate it. And I love playing this game. So thank you guys again for commenting. Art Goddess 80 says, get this man some more likes and subs. Design Candy is the hidden gem of CS on YouTube. Thanks, man. That's really kind of you. I really appreciate that. Mass Gymnast says, I love this. I have a suggestion for a future project on a new map. Eventually, can you make a city on an island that is only small and make it a futuristic country and can be fully multicultural with British elements, Chinatowns, etc., and have it be very populated? That would be epic. That's a really good suggestion. I like that. I like that a lot. Gaming World Champion says, Air Force and Army based during 1940s. The Air Corps was a part of the U.S. Army. Then 3 years later, the Air Force came by itself during 1980. Cool. Great fact. Some of that grammatically, I don't think made sense, but thank you for your comment anyway. I really appreciate it. Another comment from one of my loyal #candy famers, Missy M87. They say, love that you're doing this. Can't wait to see the homes on the base. I don't know why, but it's my favorite part, LOL. Also, please bring back the theme song from earlier in the season. The female singer you did in the end. I don't know. Gives me nostalgic feels. Cool. We'll end with that. Just because you said it, Missy, we're going to end with that. I love that song. I love that song. Yeah, we'll bring it back. As you guys can tell, we're ditching the other editing style. Just didn't go over too well. A little distracting. Thank you guys for your feedback. But yeah, we went over. And also, I wanted to mention, coming up on the screen, we're going to build a bunker. And I don't know if I built it yet. I don't know if I showed it. No, yeah, I'm about to build it. It's coming up. I'm like looking at my previews. I'm like, did I show it? Because I wasn't satisfied with those dirt piles. And we built a military bunker. It's like a little tease, because that could have been like the feature of the episode. And obviously this area right now is the feature of the feature of the episode. But yeah, we built here we go. We're gonna do it right now. We're building a bunker. And I don't know, I was watching a Kara and Nate video. I don't know if you guys seen them. They're travel vloggers. One of the best travel vloggers on YouTube. I love their content. And they just stayed in one. And so I saw their thumbnail and I was like, I want to build one of these. And it's of course super tricky, like raising up terrain and putting an object. I had to accomplish this via rocks and then utilize, like you see right now, some ploppable dirt, and then move the dirt up and down utilizing procedural objects mod. So there's some really good procedural objects, guys, like City Walk, City Wall kills procedural objects. I was watching the Mars series and it's just insane how procedural objects work and how good he is with that. So but yeah, turned out awesome. Putting the little fence down here, mirroring it. And at the end we find like this really cool building prop, like an entrance prop that kind of sets it off and makes it look good. So yeah, we're gonna just put rocks around it to make it look big and beefy, right? Because I can't really utilize the terrain tool to make it massive. So the illusion of the rocks. I'm so happy I learned that technique. And now I see it everywhere. I see everybody using it. And again, I'm not responsible for it, but I was glad to kind of figure that out and be able to utilize it. So boom, you have a big old military bunker and it looks super cool. Now, would a military bunker be on a military base? I have no clue. Who knows? That's outside of my, my pay grade. But nonetheless, look at that. That's the entrance. That's where I would be. And it raises up a little bit, so I don't think a bunker would be raised up just like that. Maybe it'd be more sunken into the ground, but it's still cool. Put some foliage and overgrown grass around it to make it look grungier. Got to add the American flag. Love it. Got to put the little people blocker so no one runs into that. And so that will be it for this episode, y'all. Cinematics are up. Thank you guys again so much for the continued support on this channel. I really appreciate it. I'm probably going to drop the schedule down at least one episode a week instead of the two. We're going to try to bring back our unmodded series, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay, guys, that will be it. Enjoy the cinematics. Enjoy the hashtag views. I will see you next week in the next episode. Peace.